Hey, what do you think of our intro, huh? Makes it sound like a real big studio, so that was the whole idea.
Instead of the closet we're actually
Instead of the closet we're actually... Hey, this is our big studio. You can see how nice and beautiful it is. Beautiful. Everything's pretty.
I'm glad.
I've got my classic Intel guy that I bet is worth thousands and thousands of dollars. Maybe somebody will see it and want to buy it from me.
I'm just glad you took down the clothes.
Wow. Well, the dryer is right over there, though, so I had to let that go. So anyway, today is October 6th, Thursday, and this is our ode to Steve Jobs. Of course, unfortunately, yesterday Steve passed away, and I love him and hate him. He was definitely a forefront in making things come tuition. That's why we have the computers we have. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I owned, when Apple first came out with an Apple IIe, I actually owned an Apple IIe.
We still have the Apple IIe.
Yeah, actually we do. It's still in the barn. But maybe we'll put that to one of the props. That's what we should do. We should add it to our reel-to-reel that's up here. And
we're going to have to delouse it first.
Well, it's like, who cares about that? So we wanted to do something about Apple, and you know, everybody's got different opinions. It's really easy at this point to say, oh, what a wonderful guy he was, and how great he was, and all the wonderful stuff that he did, and I'm not going to take any of that away from him, but in the mid 90s, I started a bulletin board system. Now, some of you guys have been online and been working online for a while. Know what a BBS was called, and we actually had one in our little area in El Dorado County. We were probably the most popular BBS at the time, and that actually turned into an internet company called Informed Communications, which became, you know, the real thing, the real deal. We brought internet to El Dorado County in our area, and one of the things that I noticed as we were doing a lot of the setups for getting the ISP stuff running and getting computers online, and of course back then it was just your regular modem. 56K modem was lightning fast at that point. Is that Apple was slow to implement the tools needed to get the Macs online. Not that Microsoft did such an outstanding job, because we all know that they were behind the curve in what they did by completely missing the boat when Netscape came out. I mean, my understanding is that Bill Gates didn't even understand what internet was, and here we have it. You know?
Yeah, but you know, 3 iterations later, Microsoft put Netscape out of business.
Absolutely. Well, that was sheer marketing genius, as far as I'm concerned.
No, because they gave it away for free.
But that's it. That's my point. That's a marketing genius. They charged nothing, where Netscape's marketing plan was to charge for it and make money. I know that as an ISP, trying to recommend a browser to our customers was a very difficult thing. When we first started up, the only browser out there really was still Netscape, although there were a few others, and I can't remember the name right now. But when we signed up as an ISP with Netscape, we had to buy this whole program. There was all this legal documents we had to do. We had to burn special disks. We had to do all this stuff that was just a tremendous amount of work, besides the learning curve for all of us and our engineers and everything, trying to get, you know, a good browser to our customers. Well, lo and behold, you know, within 6 months, I guess, or so of that, Microsoft came out with Internet Explorer. Love it, hate it, it was there. And the big issue with Internet Explorer, of course, it was free. And that really killed Netscape. I mean, they were toast. They were done. There was no way that they were going to be able to, compete with free. So that issue was done. But what I was getting at is, when we were setting up our ISP, Internet Service Provider business, and we were trying to get all these computers online, Macs were always very difficult. There wasn't a whole lot of hardware, first of all, since Mac has always protected the hardware line, held it close to their vest, and didn't let anybody else really build equipment for them. I think that was a downside. I guess it's working now, but I think in the beginning, I think it held them back. I think them taking full control of all the equipment and software was a problem. So it took a while to get a Macintosh online, and that was unfortunate. But the other thing that I had always thought about Apple and Steve Jobs in particular is that coming from the DOS and Windows world, I had always felt that Apple and Apple operating systems dumbed down the user, dumbed down the computer user, because he was used to this graphical user interface, and he would just click on something or click on here. You ask a Mac person, where did you put that file? Well, I don't know. It's in here somewhere. It's someplace. They didn't really have a directory browser like Windows did, so you knew where you're putting stuff. It just didn't happen in the Apple OS, and so my experience was that a lot of very, very newbie type people, they went to the Macintosh, and Apple didn't really do them any favors. They just wanted to control everything. The users didn't know where they were putting stuff. They didn't know how things worked. They had no clue. There was absolutely no clue whatsoever. So in the beginning, in the 2000s and up to the mid 2003, 2004, I was really a true anti Apple fan. I just was not a fanboy. I didn't think that there was anything that they made that anybody should use. And of course, at that point in time, Apple was mostly in schools, and that's where they were going. They were going to the schools and into the universities, and they were providing these computers to the kids, and that's fine. That was a very wonderful thing for them to do. But again, I still don't think they did them any favors, because it really dumbed them down. But
they still had the iMacs. I mean, there were a lot of people who still used the iMacs. I mean, I was never a big fan of, the colors. I mean, Jim Louderback of Tech TV at the time said it was the iBook was looked like a Hello Kitty purse.
Yeah. Well, of course, everybody at that time kind of had that putty, off-colored ivory look to everything, and again,
the eggshell white case, or whatever it was,
That was the thing, and I don't know who chose that over black or gray or whatever may have been. I believe that Jobs with Next, when he came out with the Next system,
they were black.
And I think he may have started. All of a sudden, the company's looking and saying, "Hey, look, this looks pretty slick. We better make our equipment look as good as his." So
but, that was pretty positive for him. Not only did he have Apple buy his company Next, so he ended up becoming the the CEO.
Well, yeah, within a year he was back in control, and so after being kicked out, of course, Steve came back. They bought Next, and then Steve got control of Apple back, which is a very, very good thing for Apple, because they really weren't going anywhere.
No, they were going to die. I mean, if it wasn't for Steve Jobs and probably Bill Gates, they would have been out of business. Because there was this a while where Apple or Microsoft or Bill Gates personally bought Apple stock. I remember a story about that. I don't remember.
Yeah,
where.
You're right, and we would have to look that up. I really don't know what the true story is, but there was a relationship between Bill Gates, Microsoft, and Apple, where Gates stepped in and helped them. I don't know if it was financially or if it was.
They actually bought stock, I think.
Engineering, or I think there was more to it, but it may have been stock as well. I'm not sure which one it was, but whatever it was, it obviously kept Apple going and kept Steve Jobs in this position. And so, you got to look at Steve, especially within the last, I don't know, let's just say in the last, when did the iPhone come out? About 4 years ago?
Something like that. I mean,
it was revolutionary. I think.
Well, I never liked. I mean, I always thought the iPhone was cool when it came out, but I really didn't like it until it really started coming out with the App Store. I mean, I have the iPhone 4.
Right.
I love my iPhone 4, but I would have never bought the original iPhone, just because none of the apps that came with it just didn't interest me.
There's no doubt about the fact that the App Store is just phenomenal. Apple has done very, very well with that, and just about anything you want is in that App Store. There's no doubt about it. But I had a number of smartphones prior to Apple coming out with their iPhone. I had a compact. I can't even remember what it was called.
Yeah, it was the Trio.
Well, that was the Palm Trio.
Oh yeah, you also had that HP. Yeah, you gave it to me. That HP.
I had an HP compact
phone.
Yeah, and it was a phone. It was a pretty big device.
The vibrate on that phone was actually louder than a ringer.
Yeah.
I could actually set it in a drawer and hear it go off before I could actually hear the ringtone.
Well, I was a fan of what was it? The Pilot.
You had a couple of Palm Pilots.
Palm Pilots, and
then I broke them all.
I thought they were. And I think that was the start of the smartphones. I think, here we had so many devices that we had to carry. We had to carry our PDA. We had to carry our phone. We had to carry our computer. We had to carry, And so Steve came along, and I think him, his team, whatever, and I'm sure it was with a lot of his guidance, came up with a very, very good operating system for a phone. And I think the iPhone worked really well. I'm still not a big fan of the iPhone. I don't own an iPhone. I happen to have an Android, Droid X2. But with that said, I am an Apple fan. I love my my iPad. I mean, this is first generation, and it does everything I like to do. I just think this is just probably one of the best electronic items since sliced bread, as far as
I just wish Microsoft, because Microsoft came out with a tablet, a decade or 2 decades before Apple ever did. And, they were always huge, ugly, convertible PCs.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the problem. I think Microsoft decided that they were going to kind of produce a PC in a tablet form, and of course that didn't really work very well. It just, the touch, the feel.
To go back, there was also the Newton. The actual first PDA that I remember was the Newton.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I knew a few people when I was in high school that actually still used them.
Yeah.
So and they had that weird. I think they had that weird graffiti language. And matter of fact, they actually used one in the Under Siege 2 Dark Territory with Steven Seagal. He actually used that to dial into whatever.
Oh, okay. So let's start. So there were a number of other products out there. I'm not going to claim myself as an expert in any way, but I did own a lot of different technology. I do like to be. So one of the first people to get a hold of the technology and try it. Sometimes to my detriment, it's not always the best thing to do. Sometimes it's better to wait a while, but I still like getting the new, the better, the best. But this is the original. This is not a Palm 2. I do not plan on upgrading. I don't think there's enough. Pad 2. I don't think that there's enough new for me to ever go with it. We'll see what the 3 looks like when it comes out, and especially since Steve won't be around to have his influence on it.
Well, I don't know about. I wouldn't say his influence. For one, Tim Cook, who's now the president or CEO, whatever the title is, and he, his touch will be through it, for a couple of generations of the device. His Steve Jobs' inability to have any way of changing batteries without contacting him is, in it. So, his design aesthetic will always be in an Apple product. It was from the start when they came out with the iMac.
Right.
That they had those fruit flavored colors.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, all I can say is that my hat's off to Steve's family, to his children. I wish them the very best. I think the world will miss Steve. Like I said, love or hate him, and I'm not a Steve Jobs fan by any means. He will be missed. His influence, I think, will be missed. I look forward to more Apple products. My first one was the original iPod, right? Isn't that what I had? I had a
I had the 4th generation iPod. You bought the iPod. You think you have
I have the classic. Right. Now I've got Touch, and although I don't use it as much as I used to, I use it a little bit more when I drive, but I still use my iPad for most stuff. And I think a lot of things that that this allows us to do is when you're driving. One of the beautiful things of iPods and now vidcasts, that's what we're calling ours, is that you can listen to them while you're on the road. And love us or hate us, at least it gives you something to listen to and give you some ideas. I'm really hoping in the future in our shows to be able to have people join us behind us here on Skype. This is, of course, Apple. Please don't sue us. We put that there for in honor of Steve. And hopefully we can get people to join us on Skype. And hopefully as this grows and moves on, I want to do a couple of things. I want to go to live streaming at some point, and I also want to go to be able to have callers call in. So we're not sure 100% how successful we're going to be. We're going to try to focus in on our area and talk to some of the movers and shakers that are in our particular area. I think that's what we're going to look for. But anyway, back to Steve. Bless you, Steve. I hope, and I hope everything else works out well. Apple, keep doing your job. Keep bringing out items that you've got and keep doing a good job with that.
I would say my favorite all-time Steve Jobs story is I don't know where I heard it, but apparently at one point in time he'd walk around and if he asked you, where do you work, a division, he'd say, I don't like you to that division, you're fired, and walk around and the story goes he always had somebody behind him going, he's having a bad day, you're not really fired. And there was also the story where you were never allowed to look him in the eye, you always had to look down. I mean, whether it was true or not, you definitely had the awe of that not to say anything to Steve. I mean, I don't know if it was true.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard anything bad about the guy, really, but, those stories always made me
laugh. You never know, and I think that happens with a lot of people that end up being very wealthy. You hear all kinds of stories, like, don't look me in the eye, and don't talk to me unless I talk to you. It's like the Queen, things like that. And who knows if that's true or not, but I doubt it. But no matter what is said, really, this is just our little portion to say Steve will miss you, and thank you to Apple for your products. Keep producing them, because I will buy them. I'm not into buying an AirBook yet, but
I love my MacBook Air. I mean, I have a first generation. I mean, I got a screaming deal finding it used, but I love it. I mean, I wish it had more than the 40 gig solid state drive.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can take it anywhere, and I've dropped the thing a number of times. And unlike most of these cheap, these cheap made PCs, that you can buy now for $400 or $500, they're well made.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can afford it, I want to stick with Mac laptops just so I can abuse them.
Here's my problem, and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same position I am. We have so much invested in our software. On our platform, on the Windows platform in particular, that there's just no way that I could go into a serious laptop situation on a Mac. I just,
True.
my Adobe suite alone, the design suite that I have, and Dreamweaver, and all the stuff that's in there, it's $1,000 for me, and I can't just snap my finger and turn around and turn it into an Adobe product. I mean, into an Apple product. Which, by the way, Adobe, if you're listening, maybe you ought to consider that if people decide they want to change their operating platform, you should do it for a very small fee and let them go to a different platform. But they don't.
Well, that would be a Mac thing, when they had like the Switch ads.
Switch ad?
Well, the switch from a PC to a Mac. That'd be something on the Apple side. I have, with Adobe's, love for Apple, I don't see them doing that. Especially with, no flash. None of the new computers, from what I've heard, even come with a flash.
Yeah, the flash deal with Adobe and Apple is really interesting. And I heard, and I don't know if it was off Leo Laporte's show or where, because we do listen to Twit, and Leo's kind of my hero, part of the reason why we're doing what we're doing here. But I heard that Steve Jobs was the one that actually has a problem with Flash, and he and Adobe were not getting along. Well, Flash is here to stay, and that is the downfall.
Not necessarily.
Oh,
I mean, HTML5 does a lot.
It's going to be a while yet. You're still looking at a long time, and right now there is so much written in Flash. As a developer, as a website developer, changing all the Flash forms that I have and the Flash applications and all of that, I don't see that happening right away. Now, Java. There's more Java tools out there that I'm using.
Well, I find Java a pain, because every time I restart my computer, I've got a Java update.
Well, of course, that's a security thing. But anyway, with that said, I'm hoping that Apple under Tim Cook and Adobe can solve whatever their issues are with Flash. And I mean, your Flash works on your AirBook, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's it will never work on the iPhone because the iPhone is completely closed. I mean, with the OS 10, it's like Windows.
Yeah.
The only way to get software on an iPhone is via the App Store, unless you jailbreak it.
Well, yeah, and that's true. And there's people that are doing that, and I'm really hoping that within the next year or so that they get their problem, whatever it may be, with Flash, and they get it solved.
Well, it's a battery life issue, though. I mean, the Flash, if you watch it on your iPhone, can suck down the battery pretty good. I mean, shoot, watching a movie on my iPhone sucks the battery. Well,
that's the point, isn't it? Is it?
Well,
don't you watch any
fast? I'm assuming.
I don't think so. I don't think. I think if you watched, let's say, a half-an-hour clip on YouTube and a half-an-hour clip on Flash, I don't think you're going to find much of a difference on battery life.
I've never.
I mean, and I don't know anybody that's. I have no way of setting that kind of test up myself, but I don't think so. I think there's something in the background that went with Jobs and Adobe, and I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but something happened. And okay, so Flash causes a little more CPU usage and a little more memory usage, but so what? I mean,
I think that's the thing. When you have something mobile like a cell phone, I mean, the last thing you need, I mean, I have to charge this thing every day, so the last thing you want to do is have to charge it, if you're a heavy Flash user, have to, charge it every, twice a day.
But if you were to be a movie watcher on your iPhone, by the way, I don't know how anybody watches a full movie on a little phone device, but I do understand how you do it on your iPad. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But I'd rather read on my iPhone. I mean, I had one of those old, Palm PDAs, and I've read entire books that were, old PDF books I found, so...
Yeah, and
reading on an iPhone, I think, is a little bit easier than watching a movie.
Yeah, because you can adjust the font size also. But I will say, as you get older and you need reading glasses like I do, that's why I went with probably one of the largest phones with the Droid X2 that you can get, simply because I can read most of it without my glasses. But the other thing that I absolutely love about the iPad versus, let's even say, the Kindle, which I first owned was a Kindle, and e-ink is very nice. It's great. It's crisp. It's easy to read. The one thing you can't do with it, though, is when you're in bed at night, you can't have the lights off and read. That's why I love my iPad.
Well, see, I think people like the Kindle just because the fact it's, for one, it's a one-use item, and the batteries last forever. I mean, I've read entire books without charging it, months without really...
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of power.
Mine's the first generation, so I mean, I don't know about the newer ones, but I can turn off the antenna and just read it forever.
Right, yeah. Well, it's got its purpose, and of course we're off base on the Kindle right now, but my thing is, the reason why I like the iPad better than any other device out there is the backlighting. I've read many, many books on this, I mean dozens, and there's no eye strain. I have absolutely no problem at all. And I've heard some people say, "Oh, it like burns your eyes out." No, it didn't burn my eye out.
For some people, it was just the flickering or the actual backlight itself. I mean, you're going from some people that are used to, they'd stare at the screen, 12 hours a day or whatnot, and the last thing some of them want to do is look at another screen to read. When you get an e-ink display, it's just like reading a paperback book.
Okay, granted, I'll agree with that, but. And to each his own. I mean, obviously, the Kindle's been very popular, and the new Fire is going to be really outstanding. I can't wait to see one. If somebody wants to send me a Fire to interview, to look at and to review, I'd love to have a Fire just to see, because it looks neat. But
I'd still rather have the next version of the Kindle than the Fire. I mean, if I want a tablet, I'd rather get the iPad or the next Windows.
Right.
Mobile 7, whatever it is. But I'd still rather have an iPad.
Yeah.
Just because of all the software on the time invested in my iPhone.
Well, yeah, again, and that's why I'm going to, when the third iPad 3 comes out, I will buy it, because one, it's supposedly a little lighter. This does have some heft to it, and battery life is a little bit better, and the screen is even a little bit larger, so they say. But still...
Well,
I still think personally, hands down, if you were to hand me, a Kindle versus an iPad, I'm going to go with an iPad every day.
Well, so what if they come out with like the Apple TV, with an actual television, with the Apple products, and you can use all the applications? Would you read on your 50-inch television?
Probably not.
You could use all your apps, check your mail via, your tablet or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on this Apple TV or Samsung TV or whatever TV that people are talking about. Even Microsoft, I guess, at one point, I don't know that they're still doing it. We're talking about it.
Well, Microsoft does everything through their Xbox. I mean, the allegedly the fall update for my Xbox is supposed to be, television content. For you can watch Twit, you can go HBO to go. With an HBO to go, if you get it through any of your like DirecTV or Comcast or whatnot, you can actually get it through that. I mean, there's Hulu, so I mean, I love my Roku box.
Right.
My problem is mine's the second or first generation, so it's a little old, long in the tooth. But I love that.
Well, I understand
the Sony
that.
TV behind us. I mean.
Oh yeah, we were talking about when we were building the studio, which we just did. We just bought this Sony. I don't know what the name of it is, but
it's a Sony Bravia. I couldn't tell you the model number.
I'll tell you what, it's one of the most gorgeous TVs. I mean, my TV in my bedroom is not anywhere near as beautiful as this TV is.
Yours is the DLP rear projection.
Oh yeah, it is.
I mean, I had one of the newer
Vizios, right?
Vizio LED LCDs. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's definitely not like you get some of the Petite.
Right.
Manufacturers like Samsung or Sony or Pioneer, if you find one of their old plasmas. Some of the stuff, there's artifacting here and there, but it's a great television. For the price, it was outstanding.
Well, yeah, at the time, but it's amazing what you can buy. I think this is a 43-inch, 44-inch.
Yeah, it's 43-inch.
And you go to Sam's Club or Costco or whatever, and there's 50 and 55-inch TVs out there, and compared to what the prices were paid for the first plasmas that came out, they're half the price.
Well, even Walmart. I mean, Walmart sells Vizio and all Sony's for the price is incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing.
I mean, as much as people give crap to Walmart, I mean, it's a great place to buy a cheap TV.
Well, they do fine. I really like Sam's Club, and I like Costco too. And there's other places if you're into the membership clubs.
Well, the best deal about at least the membership clubs is if you get some of the memberships, if you buy their 2 or 3 year warranty, they throw in an additional year.
Right.
So you can have 4 years on a television. I mean, whether you're going to keep the television that long is completely different.
Right. Well, it's like this back here. I bought this from Sam's Club, and I'm an executive member, I think they call it. And so it's got a 2-year warranty, and then another year thrown in. And if anything goes wrong with this TV, all I do is walk back into the store and say, here, it's not working, and they give me a brand new TV.
The only thing is I don't think you're going to have the longevity. I mean, we had a Mitsubishi TV for 20 years. I mean, I just don't think anybody's going to hold on to an LCD television that long. Just because I don't think it's going to last that long.
Well, I think the price points is what makes it. I mean, the features on these new TVs as time goes on, you want a new TV just because of all the added features more than if the picture works. I mean, in the old days, that old Mitsubishi CRT that we had that weighed 500 pounds, all it is was a TV, and that's all the TVs were. They were just TVs. Well, this TV behind me right now is way more than a TV.
Yeah, but I still kind of miss the days when you could actually fix something without having to buy a brand new television set, or like your printer. Where the ink costs so much, it's actually more economical to buy a brand new printer.
Yeah, well, that's a subject that I want to bring up in another show because that's crazy. What Jonathan is just talking about is I went to buy a new toner for my Lexmark, and it cost me more to buy all the toner for that color laser printer than to buy a new color laser printer.
Which is outrageous.
So, it's ridiculous. So that's what I did, and I'm going to donate my old fax machine and my old printer to Goodwill and have a write-off and get a brand new piece of equipment every couple of years, or because I don't really burn through toner that much. But why would I buy $350 worth of toner when I could buy a brand new state-of-the-art all-in-one laser color printer for $50 less? Doesn't make any sense. It's
amazing how cheap they got. I remember looking at a color laser printer like 5 or 6 years ago. It was like $1,000.
Yeah, nobody could consider it. It was way too much.
The ones I would love to get now, being a CAD drafter, so I'd love to get some of the larger format laser printers, because you can get a D size, 24 by 36 sheet printer. I mean, they're outrageous, but still, I mean, if you get one for full color, I mean, that would be amazing.
It is pretty neat. I know some people at work. A lady that works for a big construction company that have the great big full. I don't know what are they? They're like a great big inkjet.
Yeah, well, those. I worked at a place in Roseville, California, for a while, and the thing had 6 cartridges, and each cartridge was $100.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just amazing.
So your ink is $600, and how many pages would they get to run on that?
As little as possible. I mean, they their thing was print everything small format, 11 by 17 to 8.5 by 11, as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then when you wanted to get to the red lines, which is having somebody go over and correct the mistakes or the obvious goofs, is they do 11 by 17, 24 by 36 there, or
right.
An e-size sheet.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, even HP ink is outrageous. So I just
Well, isn't it? My understanding is ounce per ounce.
Ink, it's worth more than gold.
Yes, the ink is the most expensive liquid in the world.
Oh yeah,
that's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody. By the way, as we're getting set up here with Old Guy Tech, please visit our website at and to show you that we're on live here. We've got an interruption for a moment. Why don't you go answer that interruption, John? But I'll tell the folks there that our website is www.theogt.tv. THEOGT.TV. So please make sure you go visit us there. We also have a Facebook page going, and we're really hoping to get more people and visitors and friends, and to do a lot more in El Dorado County and outlying.
Did you mention the email?
No.
I will say, if you want to email us, it's the theogt.tv@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or comments, just put question or comment on the subject line, so we can kind of sort through the spam.
Yeah, and we'll keep using the Gmail account for right now. It can handle it fine. We don't want to overload our server where our website's hosted at. But visit the website. We're going to have all our videos there. We'll be on YouTube. Eventually, hopefully, we're going to be on iTunes, and we'll make this grow. We want you to be part of this, so we want to bring up all kinds of things. And Jonathan and I will, once a week at least, if not more, we're hoping to do more, come out with what's going on, even in our community. We might discuss about news that's going on. We might discuss the weather. Who knows what we're going to discuss, but we're going to have opportunities to talk about a lot of things. We built a really nice studio, which I think everybody will be quite impressed with. We're still learning all the equipment, the servers and the boards and all of that. So we're still learning that, but hopefully you'll forgive us for the flubs that we get now and then, and we'll get going on that, and we hope that you'll become part of this as well. Also, look for a contest we're going to have. We're actually going to give away a little Android tablet coming up here soon. We'll get that announced, and we'll get a drawing going for that. It's a fun little tablet. It's not an expensive one, so don't think you're getting an iPad, because you're not. But it's a fun little Android toy to play with, but it'll be a nice prize, and we're going to try to do that as well. Also, if you have suggestions for us as to people to talk to or subjects, if you would like to come and be part of the show and talk to us as well, we'd love to have anybody here. If you've got a business that you want people to know about, want to learn about, and we've got a great studio for that, come on in. We'd love to talk to you about
please.
It. Yeah, and see what we can do. But with that, we're going to wrap this up. Again, we're going to say we're going to miss you, Steve. Thanks for all the Apple products that you brought. Thanks for what you did for the computing world. And we wish you and your family the best. And thank you, everybody, for watching the OGT.TV, Old Technology. And we'll see you soon.